Hi, I'm Art Kaplan, and I'm at the Division of Medical Ethics at New York University's Grossman School of Medicine. Ever been to a museum where there are medical exhibits, bodies, anatomical exhibits, different forms of genetic anomalies, even freakish examples of human anatomy on display? I have, both in the United States, in places like Philadelphia, and overseas in places like England. There are many, many, many medical museums out there. Many of them have collections, including skulls, skeletons, medical oddities, conjoined twins, anomalous fetuses with strange and terrible genetic defects, and very few of them have permission or consent for any of these materials. There are a lot of museums that display things like criminal skeletons from 19th century criminals who were executed. None of those people gave consent to be on display. And let me tell you a story about one medical museum. It's called the Hunterian Museum in England. And recently, the Royal College of Surgeons announced that it was going to take out of a display case the so-called Irish giant, a man who was 7 foot 7 inches tall, who had died in 1783, I believe it was. And during his life, he had been something of a celebrity, with many doctors, scientists coming to examine him. He realized that he was something of a medical, to use the term, freak. And he was valuable as people tried to understand, how did he get so big? How did his physiology work? He said before he died, I want nothing to do with a medical museum. I don't want to be on display. I want to be buried at sea. Well, a famous doctor, Hunter, actually got his body somehow, I'm not sure exactly how, and after dissecting him, got the skeleton, cleaned it, and put it on display in his private museum. So the Irish giant, Charles Byrne, did not get his wish fulfilled, and indeed, he's been in there for a very long time without his consent. Protests have been mounted over the years about the display of someone who there is a record of saying, I don't want to be put on display in a museum. And finally, they're not going to take him out of the museum, but they're at least going to take him off display and put him in a storage room. I think they should be taking him straight to the ocean and giving him the burial that he had asked for with his remains. Be that as it may, the issue of medical museums and the displays they have and the materials they have is coming at a time when many museums are struggling with the question of what to do with art objects, architecture, different types of, if you will, statues and so on, that were obtained through war, theft, purchase. They're on display in countries that aren't the place of their origin. And many of those countries, Greece, Egypt, Benin in Africa, are asking for the return of these art objects. It's not clear what policy we have in place to say, if you have something without permission, if you have something that you stole, if you have something that you purchased, but it was against the will of the person whose body's being displayed, or against the will of some artist who made the object, what do we do? I think this is an emerging problem that we're finally starting to address in our medical museums. So the next time you visit one, or wind up having a reception or a party, or some sort of field trip with a group of friends, think, what permission do we have for these exhibits? Who gave the permission? Is it adequate? Are we exploiting people because of their unusual anatomy, unusual appearance? What sort of rules do we need to put in place to make sure that we don't repeat the errors of the past, and that we do honor our own values about consent, about permission? You don't want museums full of materials that are basically displays that are inconsistent with current values. I'm Art Kaplan at the Division of Medical Ethics, NYU Grossman School of Medicine. Thank you for watching.